Hello, everyone. I hope you are having a beautiful day so far. I would like to welcome our dear and wonderful guest today. I'm honored to introduce you to Jackie Lapin, a leader in helping leaders, authors, coaches, and speakers connect with their next followers around the globe. She provides resources and guidance through her Speakertunity, the exclusive inside scoop on booking your own speaking opportunities in the conscious and transformational world. They provide programs, tip sheets, and regional directories that get changemakers booked for speaking engagements, radio shows, podcasts, and virtual summits across America. Jackie is also the author of Practical Conscious Creation, Daily Techniques to Manifest Your Desires, and The Art of Conscious Creation, How You Can Transform the World. Jackie is a powerhouse resource for people just like us, conscious collaborators, spiritual entrepreneurs, and soulful thought leaders who want to help take this planet to a whole new and beautiful level. Jackie, you are incredible. It has been so fun researching everything that you've been doing in the world. So I'm so grateful to have you here on the show today. Thank you.
Well, Sarah, thank you for having me. And I just look at it as, I'm a divinely inspired messenger. I just do what I'm directed to do. And my mission is to be here and help leaders who are improving the planet and help people grow their businesses just so that they're expansive and prosperous and conscious. And I'm here to help them do that. So I know my place in the world, and that's a good thing.
I love it. And you've been doing this work for a long time now. How long have you been doing this kind of work?
Well, I've actually been doing the radio podcast tours where we introduce authors to 9,000 radio shows and podcasts for about, a little over 10 years. And Speakertunity, which is our brand that brings speaking people into do-it-yourself tools where they can get more speaking gigs and radio and podcasts, that was developed starting about 5 years ago. And the newest evolution, Speakertunity Cities, which gives people regional speaker lead directories in the markets of their choice, that we just launched in October. So it's been an evolution, but the evolution has been based on what the public is telling us they need and they want, our public, our tribe, so to speak. And so we've adapted to serve all those markets.
Amazing. And, it's so wonderful that you've been doing this work for so long, because now is really the time it's been the time for a long time, but really it's so relevant right now, the kind of work that you're doing. And I'm so grateful that you've got all this momentum already built up behind you, so that these transformational thought leaders are being heard.
Well, there's so many growing people in this community. As you call thought leaders, I call them my tribe.
Because you're one of them, yeah.
And it's really powerful to be able to be in a position to open more doors for them, to give them more opportunities, for them to be more seen, to be able to attract more clients. And that's really, when there's this beautiful combination of you're in service to the world, but the world comes back to you and helps you grow and expand your own prosperity. So we're in that beautiful cycle that we help people complete that, put your mission out, your gift out into the world. And in turn, you're going to be benefiting from it. So that's the joy of what we do.
I read that you began your career as one of the nation's first women sports writers, working for Washington Post, Detroit Free Press, and Associated Press. How did you shift from sports writing to the consciousness raising work that you do now?
Well, the chronology was, I was actually a manifester, conscious creator at 11 when I told my parents I was going to be a sports writer. There were no women sports writers in the world. I married my two favorite things, sports, the LA Dodgers at the time, and writing, and announced I was going to be a sports writer. You heard that I was able to do all that before I was even 22 years old. And from there, I segued into the sports PR business because I had that expertise in sports and had minored in PR. So I went to work for a PR agency in Los Angeles that needed support for some events and product, one of which was the introduction of Yoplait yogurt to the United States. And I brought that piece of business into the agency, actually. And but it had sports components. It had, you know, a bicycle race and a hot air balloon. And I learned the PR business basically under a baptism of fire by introducing Yoplait. But about a year and a half after that, I realized that I really was not cut out to work for other people. And I've only worked for other people for 4 years in my life. And I started my own agency. And obviously my background was in sports. And out of that, we grew one of the two largest sports special events and cable TV PR agencies in America with a world-class client list. Everybody from National Hockey League to Toyota Motorsports to the Golf Channel to Seagram's, Avon, Showtime. I can go on and on and on. And the last thing I did was launch the worldwide poker phenomenon with the World Poker Tour, and drove that for about 5 years. But toward the end of that, the media was changing. It was harder to get anything. I wasn't doing as much sports anymore. And I was called to write these 2 books. And I will say it was called. And it was before The Secret came out, and I was seeing this pattern that our thoughts and our emotions really influence our future, and nobody was writing about it. Nobody was talking about it. So I started my books. The book actually came out right around the time The Secret did. The second book was the best spiritual book of the year at the International New Age Trade Show, Practical Conscious Creation, Daily Techniques to Manifest Your Desires. When I got done with the second book, and I had built a radio list to promote my own book, and I was the first person to combine broadcast radio with internet radio. I had a list of 750 media, and I'm looking at this going, you know, if I built this for me, and I've done almost 100 interviews, then other people can benefit from this. Why don't I just shift to serving the conscious messengers of the world, which was really the calling of my heart. And so I rebranded the agency to Conscious Media Relations and just decided to focus there. That's really where I felt that the joy was, because if I couldn't get media for clients, because the mainstream guys were, you know, you'd knock on the door and they would say no. The conscious media, the people who were interested in this kind of content on all different platforms, you know, broadcast, internet, podcast, ultimately, and satellite, they were all saying, what do you got for me? More. So let's feed that environment of people that are looking for content. So that's when I basically switched over, started doing the radio podcast tours, and and book campaigns. That started, as I say, about 10 years ago. And then, you know, these folks would say to me, can you book me for speaking engagements? Can you book me for speaking engagements? And I'm going, I don't want to do that. But I know where they all are. So why don't I just create a vehicle so that you can do it yourself? We'll give them to you. Because, and that's how Speakertunity was born. But the people who are prime candidates for Speakertunity are not the same people who can get booked through speakers bureaus. You have to have a platform that you're already getting $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 per speaking appearance before a speakers bureau is going to pay any attention to you. So those people that are just trying to fill a client list by getting in front of audiences, or need to do they don't have the revenue for a full radio podcast tour and they want to do their own, they're not being served. So that's why we stepped into that void, so that you don't have to do it. You can hand it off to a virtual assistant. But the mere fact is, you cannot find out people out there to book you. And many of those people existed 15, 20 years ago. They don't exist anymore. And so getting in front of audience is the responsibility of the person themselves. So we view ourselves as a vital service, a vital connection, so that they don't have to spend the time researching. We've taken that step off. Sure, there's, you know, and we know that if you're in this business as a messenger or a entrepreneur in this kind of space, you're busier than a one-armed paper hanger. So, we want to take some of that load off of you. Now, we can't book for you, but we're going to be the middleman that's going to make it so easy so that you're going to have all the contacts and you can go right there and offer yourself and send your speaker one sheet and do all those kinds of things rather than spending your time on the internet looking for all of this content. And we also do another service called Speakertunity Summits, where if you're looking for virtual summits, we give you all of the summits that have open guest presenter seats that are looking for folks to join them.
Awesome. And for right now, that's really important since it's kind of hard to go on tour at the moment.
Exactly.
What kind of impact are you wanting to make in the world? I was going to say my old question was in the next 5 years, but hell, with the way the world is now, what's your impact in the next 5 weeks or 5 months or 5 years? Yeah.
I think the immediate impact is what we've needed to pivot to. We are trying to reach as many people as possible to let them know that this is actually the perfect time to be doing a radio podcast tour. Because people are sitting at home, they're consuming content like crazy, they're listening to more podcasts. I don't know if you noticed that the number of podcasts has zoomed to 1 million and in the last couple of weeks.
Wow.
And their numbers of audiences are expanding exponentially. And so, and furthermore, the author leader, and you don't have to be an author, but it's always a lot of times the best way in the door, but that person can stay safe and not expose themselves to the virus. You don't have to be in a room to reach millions of people. Mm-hmm. And so that's really why, we see that as the immediate future. And we are absolutely finding people that are resonating with that. Then the next thing will be in the fall, when speaking comes back. Our goal is to reach millions of leaders, to get them to download the directory for their marketplace. With Speakertunity Cities regional directories, we have between 800 and 1,500 different leads in any individual market. And by the time we relaunch in the fall, we're going to have 30 markets. So if you're in Seattle, or if you're in Los Angeles, or if you're in Chicago or Atlanta or New York City, or Dallas, you're going to be able to download your own individual market and get out speaking again fast, out of the door. Well, because those people, whether we start in October, November, December, you got to start booking next year during that time frame. So our vision and our hope is that millions of people will come and take advantage of these resources and get out there and be the first ones to be booked by so many of these meetings, venues, and associations. We don't bring them conferences and events because those change too often. What we have are evergreen speaking opportunities that reoccur in the market. So we have meetings, venues, and associations that are all in that neighborhood. So that's the vision, to see millions of people taking advantage of this, getting out and speaking, and populating the world with positive messages.
Yeah, I love that. We have very similar mission in that regard. I love that. What kinds of rituals and routines help you show up in the world aligned and ready to serve your audience? And how has that shifted, if at all, in the last month?
Well, for me, the most important for me is, and this has been helpful being here, and that is eating healthy. I happen to be a sugar addict, and being at home and not going out to the store, not going to meetings, not going to conferences. For me, just getting into a routine, eating good foods, meditating when I can fit it into the schedule, walking when I can fit it into the schedule. Those are really good things that I have not had a lot of time to do prior to this, just because I've been so busy. But staying home and not having to sandwich everything into a couple of days because I'm going to go on the road this next weekend to a conference has been a really good thing for me. So that really helps me a lot. And then there's my sacred Sundays. Sacred Sundays are really important for me. And that's when I can sit in my backyard, view my roses. I have 300 roses on the property. Listen to the waterfalls and read. That is pure peace for me. And doing a little meditation outdoors. That to me is completely recharging me for the next week. That's why I call them my sacred Sundays.
I love that. I think that being immersed in nature as much as possible is a huge balm to our souls right now. And so it's so cool that you have that opportunity.
Yeah.
So how have you done so well organically? Because have you run paid ads before?
We are doing some of it, yes.
Okay.
And we are finding that that a lot of times summits and webinars and podcasts, when I'm on them, actually draw better. Mm-hmm. But I think that we have some things coming up. We've got some lead gen magnets that I think are going to be pretty exciting. One is called, and folks are perfectly, we'd love to have you take advantage of it. It's called 20 factors that will tip the scales in your favor to get booked on a podcast. And you can find it at consciousmediarelations.com/podcast. And I'll repeat that, consciousmediarelations.com/podcast. So we're about to start working with that one, and we think that will attract a lot of attention. We have one also for Speakertunity that people can avail themselves of, which if you are looking to create a proposal letter to pitch yourself to a speaker booker, you really need to establish why you are relevant to that actual organization. There has to be a perfect match. So we've created a strategy sheet that has 12 questions on it that'll help figure out exactly how you're relevant and what to put in that proposal letter. And that's called relevantsstrategysheet.com. Relevantsstrategysheet.com.
I love that.
Really some good ideas.
That's awesome. And we'll make sure to put those links in the show notes so that if you're listening right now or watching right now, then you'll be able to find those links really easily, because that's, I think that's super, super relevant to our audiences right now. So I'm so glad you talked about them. So what you've been doing for all these years, this 5 to 10 years, has been working, and your reach is constantly growing. How do you stay consistent with your own marketing efforts?
Oh, that's interesting. Well, one of the things is I have a vast network of potential partners, affiliates, because I go to so many conferences, because I make an effort to reach out to people that I know or don't know, that I think are good matches. For example, speaker trainers are perfect for us. So I will, if I don't know somebody, I might ask for an introduction. I might just take a shot and reach out to them on Facebook Messenger or LinkedIn. I built such a consistently huge, almost 500 or 600 potential partners, that at any given time, I'm always doing something with one of them. They'll come and say, okay, I'm going to be doing such and such. We'd like to have you on this. Or we're going to be doing a summit, Jackie. Please come and join us for the summit. Another thing I do is a lot of product giveaways, those joint giveaways. And that brings a lot of people into our community. So I'm sort of on the giveaway circuit, if you could call that. And we actually, on Speakertunity Summits, we do include upcoming giveaways to tell people if they want to participate in them as well. But so but between the events, the webinars, and the podcasts, the opportunities to connect with people through things like this, I'm always marketing. There is never a downtime. Yeah. I'm just out there and always talking about whatever makes sense. And the way I define what we do is I'm an expert in helping people get booked. Everything we do is about helping you get booked, whether it's done for you radio podcasts or do-it-yourself resources and Speakertunity. So as my brand, I really have a unique niche. There are lots of people that'll teach you how to speak. There's lots of people that'll teach you how to do your own podcast, but there's nobody that really is in my expertise level.
Especially with this niche, with this audience. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
In particular, yeah.
So that also kind of adds to my demand.
Yeah.
So there's never a downtime for marketing for me. For me, the biggest challenge is finding time to do things, to prep for that marketing, to think things through, to do other things, and client service. Obviously I'm having to write pitch letters and media kits for the radio media tour clients that we have. So the hardest challenge is to balance all that when all of them are things that I need to do. And one of the best parts is I have some great team members. Jeff here, who works with me as for so long, he does all the technology, all the customer service. And Missy does the radio media tour scheduling. So she handles all the clients once the pitch goes out. And I have people who do, my team in the Philippines. I have a lead team member there who's like a daughter to me, but she manages all the research. So it's not me doing it alone. I've got some great people.
Shout out, let's just take a moment, shout out to our teams, right? I mean, the people that help us do the magical work. I'm so grateful. So yeah, I'm so glad that you mentioned that.
Yeah, this is not a solo operation here.
No, it's collaboration all the way.
You got it.
What kind of people do you feel like resonate with you the most?
Personal growth leaders, people with a healing modality, coaches, network marketers, authors, entrepreneurs, which something falls into this genre, spiritual leaders, all of that. And that's kind of the expansive.
Yeah. If y'all go to her website, at Jackie's website, consciousmediarelations.com, you'll see some of the types of clients that she has and what kind of books they write and interviews they've given. And it's really, really incredible. Like, it's totally up our alley, y'all. Really, really good stuff. So definitely check out our website at some point.
And, I feel very fortunate. I mean, we work from people like Don Miguel Ruiz and Ariel Ford and James Twyman and Joe Vitale and Chris and Janet Atwood and Maureen St. Germain. These are names that many people in our industry will recognize. And then first-time authors, filmmakers, luminaries to just general leaders. Anybody that falls in that category. But we're very fortunate. We've got only over 60 really positive reviews on the site, so it's pretty exciting. I mean, because we guarantee 30 interviews, so people love that, knowing that they're coming. A lot of times people hire PR agencies, which I don't consider us any longer, and they feel that they come away empty-handed. Well, we guarantee 30 interviews in our top 2 programs, so nobody ever has to worry about that. And oftentimes we can go as high as 50, 60, or 70. So keep folks busy.
Awesome. How do you stay in alignment with your customers? How do you make sure that what you're offering them resonates with them?
I think it's more that they're driving me.
Yeah.
It's more that I see a need. People keep asking me for something, and that I strive to move in that direction that fulfills that need, and that keeps obviously the resonance going. But I try to stay up on what's going on and what's current, what the current conversation is, what the new technologies are, so that and for me, what's really kind of fun is that when an author comes to me and they start to tell me what channeling is, I have to laugh. I said, you don't have to tell me what that is. I mean, I speak the language of most of the clients that we work with.
Exactly.
And if I don't, I'll try to learn a little bit about it. You know, I mean, when I'm doing a radio podcast tour, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to read the book so I can write the pitch. And that way I'm going to understand their world. Well, how do they see the world? What is it that they're bringing forth? And when I think that probably the most important gift that I have, the secret sauce or my superpower, is to be able to take somebody's book or project, and who they are, and really encapsulate that so that I can sort of bring their soul, their vision to the host, so that people can really get a sense of what it is that they're bringing and why, and who they are. That's really the most important critical ability, to write that pitch so that people will say, oh my God, I need to talk to this person. I mean, I can't resist. I have to say yes to this interview. And I want to make them really transparent, so that people feel that authenticity. So that's how I try to stay in resonance.
Well, I'm sure that the people on both sides of that, the hosts and your clients, are super grateful that you have that superpower. And what a beautiful gig that you have, that you get to read the books of these awesome spiritual leaders and have that be, and distill it into something that is digestible in a short amount of space.
Page and a half.
It's a beautiful gig and a miraculous job.
Thank you. Well, and it's really fun. For me, I love it when I open up the schedule on any given day, and I can see Missy has filled this with 20 or 30 or 40 interview requests. That makes me think, wow, we hit it.
Yeah.
And so that's the real fun part for me.
Yeah. Awesome. What's your next level, and how do you plan to reach and impact even more people?
I think the most important thing for us, and I have a great little video on Speakertunity, on Speakertunity cities. And I think what's the vision and what I see hopefully happening in the fall is we will go out with a national launch on Speakertunity cities through our partners, 300 or 400 people. And many of them, if they are not sending it by email, they might introduce the product at their events with this short 1.5-minute video and get people to sign up in the room. And basically make Speakertunity cities regional speaker directories a must-have for anybody that is in the world of, in need of getting out in front of local audiences. I want to see this as to be like any brand in a world that people need, Kleenex or Google or what it is. When you need speaking engagements, I want you to think of Speakertunity cities. And make it an evergreen. It's not just a one-time launch. It's the kind of thing that people are feeding their clients into on a regular basis because they see the value, and because especially when you're a platform builder or a speaker trainer or somebody that's helping people grow a business, it's so wonderful to be able to give them a resource that's going to make them more successful and shortcut their time. And so I want this to be something that everybody's talking about, everybody's spreading the word amongst themselves, amongst speakers, and amongst the business leaders who are bringing these kinds of resources and training skills to the marketplace.
Yeah. Awesome. I'm curious, like, what are some of your thoughts? And you can share as much or as little as you want, because this is I'm opening a whole Pandora's box here, but what are some of your thoughts about what's happening in the world today?
Well, first, I think it's tragic that so many people are losing their lives. And it's very saddened by that. And I know some people who have lost close relatives. I think that it is a gateway for some change that may ultimately prove to be very positive. Families being at home more together, people focusing on values, their own values, connecting with others who are like-minded, that people have more access to great useful information on so many of these programs that used to be expensive in-room programs are now being offered virally at next to nothing. I think the thing that concerns me most is reopening too soon and reigniting this virus again. And I think we just need patience and learning to cope. And I'm so saddened by so many people that are stretched financially by this. I mean, that is going to put an added burden on them both emotionally and physically. And that's tragic, but I hope that ultimately as our world returns again, they will be able to recover both financially, physically, and stress. But I think it's really important that people take care of themselves in this time and not allow fear and the stress to diminish their health, make them paralyzed. They need to look forward, find the joy, find the gratefulness, find the good things in what's happening to them, and look for ways that they can emerge stronger and better.
Beautiful. Yeah. We share that hope for sure. I'm sure the whole world does. Thank you for that. So how can people find you? We've gone over a few of them. We'll put them in the show notes, but consciousmediarelations.com.
Yes.
We've got 2 freebies that you talked about that we'll be sure to link. You have a Facebook page, yeah?
Yes. Most important, speakertunity.com. Has all of our Speakertunity resources, the 3 subscription services, Speakertunity Speaker Leads, which gives leads all over North America, Speakertunity Radio Insider, and Speakertunity Summits, all at $35 a month. You can find that there. You can also find our TEDx directory, which we will probably need to revise once we come out of this. And then more importantly, there's a gateway there to speakertunitycities.com, at speakertunitycities.com, which is where all the individual markets are. So that's really important. Speakertunity.com has a gateway to all of that. And speakertunitycities.com is where you go directly for the regional speaker directories. And then they can always reach out to me at Jackie@speakertunity.com. So I'm always more than happy to chat with people and see how we can be of service. And if you're interested, and you can reach me if you're interested in exploring the radio podcast tours, reach out to me individual. All the Speakertunity resources are available right there on those pages. But if you want to talk to me about a radio podcast tour, reach out to me directly, and then we can have a conversation and we can talk about how this might be something that could work for you. And honestly, I'll tell somebody if I think it won't work for them, because, I live in a world of integrity, and if this is right for you, I want it to serve you. And if it's not right for you, I'm going to tell you too.
So final question. How do you stay focused and aligned, especially during these wild times, so that you're not spreading yourself too thin, missing out on what matters the most, which is your own spirituality, your own self-care, and personal growth?
Well, meditation helps. But I also find that my personal friends are a great lifeline for me. And just spending a little time on the phone with them. What's really been fun is reconnecting with people I haven't seen or talked to in a long time. Just checking to see how they're doing and rekindling those friendships. So the people close to me and the wonderful members of my team, they recharge me. They help fill up my heart so that I stay in a good place during all this time. And then getting out to walk as often as I can. That energizes me and makes me feel much more alive. So those are the things that are keeping me going.
Beautiful. Thank you so very much, Jackie. This was such a pleasure. And thanks y'all for listening. I'll see you next time.